When I attended LG's European convention held at a football stadium last month, I managed to carry out some measurements on the 65-inch LG C3 OLED. As part of my test procedure, I punched in a secret code to access the TV's service menu, mainly to find out whether LG Electronics has implemented a new chipset on the C3 to improve picture quality. Now, this is the service menu from last year's LG C2 OLED, and you can see the chipset information clearly displayed on the main page. This has been the case on every LG OLED I've tested until now, going as far back as 2017's LG B7 I found among my footage archive when I started pivoting from the HDTV test website to this YouTube channel. However, when I entered the service menu on the LG C3, I got the shock of my life. You see, LG has changed the service menu interface entirely on the company's 2023 OLED TVs, including the C3 and G3, such that the chipset information is no longer shown on screen. More concerningly, there seemed to be no straightforward way to disable the TPC and GSR auto-dimming algorithms anymore on the LG C3 and G3, which may put off movie lovers and gamers alike. If you're confused, let me explain. By default, most OLED televisions will gradually dim down a static screen to reduce the risk of OLED burn-in. This protective mechanism is known as TPC, or Temporal Peak Luminance Control on WRGB OLEDs. Bizarrely, on many OLED TVs, including those from LG Electronics, TPC auto-dimming has been designed to work based on APL, or average picture level changes. So even if the picture is moving on screen and not static, as long as the APL doesn't change drastically, the OLED TV will slowly dim down the entire picture, causing dark HDR scenes to look even darker the longer it drags on, so much so that you're struggling to see any shadow detail. It's not until you summon the user menu or information bar, or when the movie cuts to a brighter scene that the picture brightness is restored. Even disabling energy saving or light sensor or AI brightness won't prevent this phenomenon from happening again and again. Some of the more notorious HDR or Dolby Vision titles that will trigger TPC auto-dimming include this beach segment from House of the Dragon, which has famously been graded to under 1 nit. Numerous scenes in Ozark on Netflix. This low-light sequence from 1917. Or Dune Part 1, which is again not the brightest of movies. Note that this undesirable auto-dimming behavior usually happens in HDR or Dolby Vision mode instead of in SDR, because the combination of maxed out OLED light and peak brightness settings seems to make the TPC dimming algorithm more aggressive. Now, on every LG OLED TV before new 2023 models, you can disable this type of auto-dimming by buying a service remote from Amazon or eBay, pressing the Instart button, entering a 4-digit code to access the service menu, scrolling to the OLED submenu, then switching TPC Enable from the default factory setting of on to off, after which your LG OLED won't auto-dim unnecessarily in prolonged dark HDR scenes again. Unfortunately, this TPC Enable option seemed to have been removed from the service menu on the 65-inch C3 sample I tested at LG's European convention last month, and during the brief time I spent with the TV, I couldn't find a way to access, let alone disable the setting. Perhaps there is another secret method to switch off TPC auto-dimming, but LG Electronics hinted that it will only be available to the company's partners in Hollywood studios who need to disable auto-dimming on LG OLED TVs used as client reference monitors, not to regular consumers like you and me who ironically may have been considering buying LG OLEDs due to their prevalent use in post-production environments, a testament to their image accuracy. Even HDR games may be affected by LG's surprising service menu overhaul. But before I explain further, I would like to thank Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this video. Since the pandemic, some streaming providers, including Netflix, have throttled the bitrate of certain shows, especially in Europe, resulting in a softer picture with more compression artifacts. This is where a VPN comes in. Surfshark allows you to stream content from another country without needing you to be physically there, so you can watch Netflix at higher bit rates with better picture quality. Besides VPN, the new Surfshark One package also includes Surfshark Search, a lightweight search tool that lets you search the web without a trace. There's 24/7 live customer support, a 30-day money-back guarantee, and if you use promo code HDTVTest, you will get 83% off, as well as 3 extra months free. So sign up today and give Surfshark a try. I'll put the link in the YouTube description below. Thanks again for your support. Okay, another auto-dimming setting that is routinely turned off in the service menu on previous LG OLEDs was GSR, which stands for Global Sticky Reduction. No, not a slogan for NoFap, but an actual term you can find in the user manual for an LG professional OLED display. GSR is a logo detection dimming algorithm which works on top of the Adjust Logo Brightness setting in the regular user menu. On pre-2023 LG OLED televisions, although turning off Adjust Logo Brightness would stop the static elements on screen from being dimmed down in a localized manner, if you don't switch off the GSR enable setting in the service menu, the entire picture would still dim down, however slightly, due to the presence of static elements on screen, especially in HDR. This has serious implications for playing HDR games, because the HUD or heads-up display in games would be treated as static logos by the GSR auto-dimming algorithm. So after you play an HDR game for some time, the picture on screen would gradually become darker, therefore reducing the HDR impact and making your gameplay less enjoyable. If there is indeed no way to disable GSR auto-dimming from the service menu on the C3 and G3, then that's one less reason to choose an LG over a Sony OLED, which traditionally doesn't allow GSR to be deactivated anyway. Part of the reason why LG Electronics has overhauled the service menu interface on its 2023 OLED TVs is to prevent owners from hacking the panel identification field, for example by changing from a C series to a G series to unlock higher peak brightness, therefore risking potential damage to the display. I've previously done a video advising against doing so, and in that video, I said, there is nothing, absolutely nothing to stop LG from locking all of us out of the service menu forever, to stop people from poking around where they shouldn't be poking around. It will be a sad day if it comes to that, because we will no longer be able to turn off auto-dimming on LG OLED televisions. No thanks to certain quarters who publicized the hack. My worst fears have now come true, with LG stripping away the ability for owners to eradicate unwanted auto-dimming on the C3 and G3. Of course, there is every possibility that the South Korean brand may have already resolved these auto-dimming issues on its 2023 OLED TVs before deciding to overhaul the service menu, but we won't know until I get the chance to run extensive testing on a review sample in my own test room. Luckily, I've just received an LG G3 OLED I bought myself, and you can find out how it performs by watching my review video here.